Welcome back, everyone. This is Mrs. Klosky, and we're going to continue with our FontSampler app development. In this video, we're going to focus on the font panel that we are going to create. It contains a grid layout with 2 rows and 1 column. In the first row, first column, we have a J combo box, which when you click on the drop-down arrow will list every system font in your operating system. And then in the second row, first column, I simply have a label with an image in it. This panel is going to be placed in our middle panel. If you recall in the last video, we have a middle panel with 1 row and 2 columns. Each column contains a panel. And with that, we are going to go ahead and get started with our design. Back in Eclipse, I'm going to right-click on my default package. I'm going to create a new class. I'm going to call it FontFace Panel. I would like to extend a J panel, and I'm going to finish. As I mentioned previously, we're going to start with a private variable that's a J combo box. I'm going to call it CBO. I like to give 3-letter abbreviations to all screen elements, font face. I find that it helps to name your screen elements with 3-letter prefixes. It helps you find them in your code if you have a very large design that you are trying to do a layout for. Additionally, this FontFace panel has a J label, and I'm just going to call it LBL image. So a label containing an image. We need to have a constructor for this class, so I will go ahead and add it. And we need to set the layout of this panel. And I'm going to do a new grid layout. And the grid layout is going to be 2 rows, 1 column. Great. And now I'm going to add a border. So set the border. I'm going to use a border factory dot create, as we did in the other videos, titled border. And it's going to say font. And let's grab that semicolon there. Great. All right. Fixing a few errors here. I'm going to grab this AWT up here, and I'm just going to put a star at the end. Additionally, I'm going to combine all of my imports as well, and it looks like we're good to go. So now we want to populate the combo box. So this is going to be a little bit tricky, but we're going to declare a string array. I'm going to call it fonts, and it's going to equal graphics environment dot get local graphics environment dot get available font family names and a semicolon. Continuing on, I need a space right here. Great. And continuing on, now that we have that list of fonts, we can populate the combo box. So I can say CBO font face, and I can say equals, I need to instantiate, so new J combo box. And I need to say of what type object. because of our fonts, and then I'm just going to treat that as fonts. This was a nice Stack Overflow find as a way to populate your combo box with all of the fonts on your system without having to create an array yourself and populate it by hand. All right, so now that we have the fonts, we need to add to our J panel our CBO FontFace. Now, I think we have our combo box all set up, but we haven't instantiated the label. So that's what we're going to do next. So we'll do LBL image is equal to a new J label. And instead of putting text in here like we would normally do, instead we're going to say we're going to add an image to it. So that's called an image icon. And then you just name the font, or not the font, but the image, JPEG. Just like that. So now we've instantiated it, but we need to add it to the panel. So LBL image. I'm going to save this. All right. In review, we have in our FontFace panel, we have a new grid layout. We titled the panel. We set up a list of the system fonts. We populated the combo box based on those fonts. And we are going to add the combo box to the panel, set up our label as an image or containing an image, add that as well to the panel. Now we still need a way for this panel to communicate back to our font GUI class what the user has selected for the font face. And we're going to do that similar to what we did in the other two classes that we created. So we'll say public. This time we're going to return a string, and it's going to be get font face. And simply, it's so easy. All you have to do is say return. We're going to say CBO font face get selected. We want to grab the selected item. Now, what is the selected item? The selected item is a J combo box of objects. So we're going to need to cast this. We're going to cast it to a string, and now it should be happy with us. And this class is complete. Let me save it. We need to switch back to Font GUI. We'll scroll to the top and see what we need to change. We now have a FontFace panel, so we can uncomment that. Scrolling down, we need to instantiate it, so we'll uncomment that. In our Words panel, we have nothing to change, but in our middle panel, we want to add the font panel. And the middle panel is already in the layout. Everything's visible. So now we just need to change the actionPerformed method. That should be pretty easy. We should be able to come right here and declare a string. We'll call it font, and we'll set it equal to our font. Let's see, what do we call this guy? Font panel. And we'll say get font face. And then right here, instead of consoles, we'll just put font. I'm going to save this. Let's give it a run. And there is our image. There's our font. I'm going to use the drop down. You'll notice a whole list of things here that you can choose from. I'll go with Allo. I'll go with italics. I'm going to set the font. Okay. Set the font. Nice. Change the font. Looking good. All right. I will see you in the next video.